Russell from Tampa, Florida. Sasha Banks did an interview with Peter Rosenberg basically admitting that she does not like Alexa Bliss. There have been rumors for some time of there being heat between the two of them. Do you know what it stems from? And of the two, who do you think has meant more to WWE overall? So, what Russell is referring to is a sit down interview that Sasha did with Rosenberg on his show. He has a show called Open Late. You can find it on YouTube. It was really good, by the way. He had a bunch of wrestlers on. He had New Day on with him. Then he had footage of a double date. He and his wife went to a restaurant with Rusev and Lana, and that was on there as well. And then at the end, they brought in Sasha, and Sasha sat down with him for an interview. And I learned something I did not know about Sasha, which is that she did not attend high school with other kids. She went to an online school. And she did that because she could stay home. She had a brother that had some sort of disability. So she admits that when she was younger and she was, quote unquote, in school, she wasn't in school like you and I were in school. She didn't have the chance to really interact with other kids her age, and she never had any friends. She never got to form those relationships that you would form with people if you went to school. So she admits, she had a chip on her shoulder in NXT. She still does. And she also admitted that there are people on the roster that she does not like, which is normal, right? I'm sure you work with people that you don't like. I don't know of anybody who works, unless you work in an office of 5 people. Most people, I would wager, when you speak to them, probably have at least that one person who works in their office that they don't like very much. So that's not really news. But Rosenberg sort of piggybacked on this, and he brought up Alexa Bliss and how it looks like there may be some sort of legitimate, either a beef or some legitimate bad feelings between the two of them. And to that end, Sasha's answer was, I think I'm really good at what I do. And he asked her if, she would like to do more with Alexa. And she said, not really. And she said, look, if WWE wants to do, me against Alexa, I have no problem doing it because I am a professional and I do my job very well, she says. But she also says she doesn't think there's really anything more to tell in that story for them to pursue it on TV. You should watch the interview. You can just hear the way that she answered and see the way that she reacted to some of these questions. It's very obvious. I mean, maybe they're just working us. It's always possible, but no, I think that they're probably, whatever it is, she's not very fond of Alexa Bliss. And she's just not her favorite person in the world. Now, I don't know if Alexa feels the same way or if the heat is really only one way. It could just be that Sasha has some kind of beef with her and Alexa really would love to make up with her and be friends. We just don't know. I remember Sasha broke Alexa's nose once in NXT in a match, and there are some people who think maybe that had something to do with it. I don't buy that for a second. I think that's ridiculous. Although not to say that maybe Sasha didn't, stiff her on the blow, and maybe that's why she broke her nose, but maybe whatever, heat or ill feeling she may have had for Alexa, I would imagine probably predates that match. I don't think, the broken nose is not the cause of anything. So it could be anything, right? Some people just don't like each other. Some people just give off a vibe, or there's something about them. You just, maybe Sasha just got to know her a little bit at the Performance Center, or she overheard conversations Alexa would have and didn't like something she said. It literally could be anything. And, we still don't know, but they are professional. They can work together. They have worked together. It's not like they haven't worked matches on the main roster together, right? They also were the 2 females that were in that. They made such a big deal about 2 women wrestling in Abu Dhabi. Well, the match was Sasha against Alexa when they wore those full body suits and they had a match. So they've definitely, worked together before. But I just wonder, I see so much hate online directed towards Alexa Bliss. And believe me, Alexa has her fans as well. As does Sasha, as does Roman. There are obsessive, scary, frightening people out there who take fandom to a level that I think is very unhealthy. But there's a lot of hate also online, I see, for Alexa, for the way that she's pushed. She's pushed so hard, first on SmackDown, then on Raw. People don't think she's that good of a wrestler. Why is she being pushed so hard? There's so many people who are better than her. And this is just me talking here. Maybe Sasha sees this giant spotlight on Alexa, while she herself has to be frustrated as all hell by the way that she's been used on TV. And maybe there's some resentment there for it. That, to me, is the most plausible explanation. Unless this heat dates all the way back to NXT before Alexa was really being pushed so hard, but I wouldn't be surprised if that resentment has built up over the years. If Sasha was the number one kind of alpha dominant female on the show and was involved in title feuds and all that kind of stuff the way that Alexa has been, I don't know that she would necessarily feel the same way, but you gotta think on some level she probably looks at this and says, look at what they have her doing. She seems to always be in the title picture. I think Alexa's a great character. I don't think she's by any means the best wrestler on the roster. She may be one of the worst. But the reason that she's pushed so hard is because she's got a personality. She's got charisma. She's got, this whole heel act down to a T. And I think she plays that character very well. So I think that's a big part of why she's been featured so much and why she's done very well. It's not because of her wrestling. It's because of her personality. But you gotta know that Sasha Banks has got to be frustrated as all hell at what they've done with her, what they haven't done with her, her role right now on the show. She doesn't have much of one. But yet there's Alexa Bliss, right? Always putting the title on her, which gets her into the main events of the pay-per-views. And she's working with Ronda Rousey at SummerSlam, and it looks like they're going to work together again at Hell in a Cell. It's impossible for me to think that there isn't some resentment there. And probably not just from Sasha, probably from some of the other women too. But you also asked me in that question, do I think who has meant more of the two to WWE overall? Alexa has by far been pushed the harder of the two, and she's been in the title picture more often, but I still think that Sasha Banks has meant more. I think Sasha has meant more overall than Alexa. I really do think that years from now, when you have these new women's wrestlers coming up and coming into the Performance Center and getting into wrestling, they're going to point to people like Charlotte and Sasha Banks as the reasons why they decided to get into wrestling. Believe me, 10, 15 years from now, the next generation of female talent, there's going to be video packages, the Mae Young Classic Season 10, and they're going to be talking about, I got into wrestling because I turned the TV on one day and I saw Sasha against Bayley, or I saw Charlotte against Sasha, and I fell in love with it. I guarantee you, the way that some of the current women talk about, well, it was Trish and Lita. I remember watching Trish Stratus and Lita wrestling in the main event on Monday Night Raw, the first time two women had really ever done that before, even though I think it was really Lita and Stephanie. But you have women now who say that sort of thing, and they credit Trish and Lita for that. And I guarantee you that those, the horsewomen, you could throw Becky in there, those are the women that are going to be given credit for that. And this whole next new crop of women that come in. I guarantee you. Because Charlotte and Sasha and Becky and Bayley will forever be linked, and Paige too. Let's not forget about Paige's role in this. They will always be linked to the start, and AJ Lee, whether they want to admit it or not, to the beginning of this whole quote-unquote women's revolution inside this company. For that reason alone, plus all the matches they had in NXT before even getting to the main roster, without that body of work, I'm not sure that we have the level of emphasis that we have right now on the women. Or that people get pissed off enough at the time to start a hashtag. Because people could see, we have all this female talent. They saw what was going on in NXT and the matches that they were having, and they got pissed, and they said, why are these women coming on and getting 30 seconds every week? So they start a hashtag to get this thing trending. Now, the Bella Twins have meant more than either one of them. And that's probably going to trigger a lot of people, but look, I'm no huge fan of the Bellas. But any objective person would have to admit that. If you're looking in terms of their role and the impact that they've had on the company, then the Bellas are ahead of both of them. But of the two, of Sasha and Alexa, I think Sasha has meant more than Alexa has overall to the company.